lights. We're here at Trent Bridge, slightly brighter than it was when the players went off for bad light at 2:28, but still plenty of cloud cover above. The lights are on here, and India will resume 125 for 4. Since then we've had a bit of rain, but the rain has cleared. We are expecting a little bit more later, but for now it is absolutely fine. James Anderson will continue from the Radcliffe Road end. 5 more balls left of his over, having bowled an incredible spell after lunch with 2 from 2, including the wickets of Chiteshwar Pujara and Virat Kohli, just springing this game back into life and bringing England back into it. Michael Vaughan alongside. Well, we've solved quite a few problems in the meantime. The structure of English cricket, the lack of red ball cricket for players, and here we are now. Dramatic skies and dramatic scenes that we had in the afternoon session, but KL Rahul will mark his guard. 57 not outs, 2 slips in the gully.
It's starting to rain.
It is, it's a sprinkling of rain.
No wonder KL Rahul's taking his time.
The fans, they want to see some action.
It might be that England only get about, might just get this one ball.
Here comes Jimmy Anderson then, past the umpire. KL Rahul, nearly an edge. It beats the outside edge as it falls in front of Jos Buttler. KL Rahul having a quick look up at the lights and opening his eyes even more so.
So this is where I think, it is wrong. It's drizzling. When they're staying out there, whereas before there was no drizzle, there was a bit of bad light, and they came off. I mean, got Richie Kettleby now looking at Michael Gough. They're off now. They're not there for. It's raining now. That's understandable. It's rain. That is a clear advantage to the bowling side when there's a bit of drizzle coming down on the surface. I've no fault in this situation.
No, there's nothing you can do. It's just really unfortunate that we've had one ball. Oh, the fans rightly burn because they want to see some cricket. But the weather gods have intervened.
Well, that was the forecast, wasn't it? That once it started today, it wasn't going to stop.
James Anderson with a smile on his face. He's had a smile on his face all afternoon because he bowled quite brilliantly in the afternoon session. But here come the hover covers then, Andy.
That's the joint lowest scoring rate in a session of Test cricket in the entire history of the game. 1 ball.
Huge frustrations here at Trent Bridge then as the players leave the field of play. I just feel for the bowlers, to be honest, because they've spent half an hour just getting themselves ready and loosened up, only to bowl that one delivery from Jimmy Anderson. Fair play to the spectators who have hung around and been persistent. See Ravi Shastri, the Indian coach, in the distance, looking very relaxed indeed. But yeah, for those of you who are just tuning in and want an update on how things have gone today, 58 runs India trail by. They had a dominant day yesterday, having bowled England out for 183. Joe Root winning the toss and electing to bat first. England were in a great position at 138 for 3 before they lost Johnny Bairstow, and then the procession of 6 for 22. With Jasprit Bumrah the pick, 4 for 46 from his 20.4 overs, 3 for 28 for Mohammad Shami. A real exhibition of swing bowling from Jasprit Bumrah in the afternoon session yesterday before Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul came out to the middle to get them through to the end of the day unscathed. 13 overs that they faced before the morning session today, where they were very attritional, which was a change in tempo from what we're normal to seeing from those two. England trying to just starve them of runs, but also try and create opportunity. Robinson and Anderson opening the day up before the lunch interval. Ollie Robinson managed to remove Rohit Sharma with a short ball, the first short ball of the day that he couldn't help himself with. Rohit Sharma, we do know he likes to play the pull shot, but he found him playing it straight into the hands of Sam Curran on the fine leg boundary. 36 then for the Indian opener, as Rahul continued with Pujara, who was removed for 4. Caught Buttler, bowled Anderson. It was a beautiful delivery, just pitched on middle and off, and caught the outside edge as Pujara looked to poke at it. Then Virat Kohli entered centre stage. He was out very next delivery to absolute scenes and jubilation from the England team, and Jimmy Anderson launching himself into the air, smiles all round for England as they were able to remove Virat Kohli before the third key player to go, Ajinkya Rahane, out to a run out from Johnny Bairstow, looking to set off at the non-striker's end, and wasn't able to get back in time as he was sent back by KL Rahul. So Rishabh Pant then entered a couple of loose shots. He picked up a 4 before the players left the field. A bit of a break with bad light and rain before coming back out again for that one solitary ball.
Yeah, it was a good one. Worth waiting for, but this looks set. This looks like the rain that we thought was going to be staying from the minute that it started this afternoon. It just looks, it's grim. It's very grim to our right, Isha.
Yeah, I think it's due for the evening and maybe even the morning, but I think the rest of the test match should be okay, and we could be in for a thriller.
Yeah, well, I think there's a few heavy showers predicted tomorrow, which if we get, we'll get quite wet, but I believe they're quite localised, where you obviously can miss those heavy showers. Yeah, the game's set. I mean, those 4 wickets that England have got today from nowhere really, from Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul just playing with so much ease. England were just scratching their head for things to do. Then Jimmy Anderson produced a bit of magic, and then the run out, Ajinkya Rahane run out by Johnny Bairstow. That was madness really. To get run out in that situation, there was never really a single on, and you could see actually KL Rahul shouted no. He played the shot and went to run, but he shouted no quite early. So I was amazed at how far Ajinkya Rahane had kind of got himself down the wicket. Brilliant from Bairstow, but it's a fascination of watching these two teams. That India are a high class team, but they're still vulnerable with the batting hand. Even in their own backyard, with the ball was spinning in the series that they beat England quite convincingly. They were still bowled out quite cheaply. They just bowled England out a lot cheaper. So it's not that the Indian batting lineup has been firing of late, so England will fancy the chances. It's just when they get that opportunity to bat again, that second innings, you would feel that they'll be looking at some kind of deficit. They'll hope it's not a great deal. They've just got to bat a lot better. They've got to just get their minds, their techniques and their kind of situation playing to a better standard than what we saw yesterday.
A word on Jimmy Anderson, who turned 39 just 6 days ago.
Yeah, he's just Jimmy Anderson, and he just rocks up, bowls on a length, gets a bit of movement.
It was a perfect delivery though to Virat Kohli, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Virat will be disappointed though. He did push it first ball. It's a good ball, it's not a great ball. I think Virat's a better player than that. He'd have been nervous. It's a human being facing one of the greats. You're always nervous, no matter what the record you have. And I think it's the perfect start for England in the series, because you get a sense if Virat Kohli finds form. You look at what Steve Smith did here in 2019, what Virat can do. He's the kind of player that if he gets into form and rhythm, he can get 300 or 400s in a series. Well, that's the perfect start to have your best bowler getting him out first ball, so there's that element of doubt in his mind next time he goes out to bat.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, last time he came here, he was noticeably disciplined outside the off stump, and he left a lot of deliveries. I just thought with that delivery today that there was some shape coming into him, and so maybe he felt like he had to play at it, but yeah, it was a bit tentative. And Jos Buttler behind the stumps.
Yeah, he just I think in English conditions, when you first go out there, you just can't create momentum with your hands going towards the ball. You've just got to basically keep your hands close to you as tight as possible And when you're defending, if the ball does anything, you just hope that it misses the outside edge. If you push your hands towards the ball, there's a better chance that the outside edge will be found. Ground staff are working hard here, aren't they? They've got the sheets to our right that are just going to... And it's the old-fashioned sheets. There's 4 of them. Big tarpaulin covers that are going to be... they're going to be left there. And then what happens on the edge of the actual... the umbrella kind of hover that goes over the 22 yards. It's got quite a fancy device, isn't it? That the sheets come off the side of it. It's quite nice.
Yep, covers going on, and this rain looks pretty set in.
The covers are coming off. It's been a funny old afternoon this. We've lost 17 overs. They did come on and have just 1 ball for the umpires. It just happens, doesn't it? Shrugged their shoulders and took the players off again. I know Joe Root was hoping that they might stay, but actually the rain did come quite heavily after that, so it was the right decision to make. It is very frustrating. The crowd has thinned out inevitably, although you never know. Once play starts, they'll emerge from behind the stands and so on, and in the passageways behind us, where there's a lot of people waiting, just hoping we might get some play. And actually, I think we've been quite lucky, because looking at the forecasts and the radars and so on, it did look as if the rain was pretty much filled in, and I don't assure anybody or guarantee that there won't be some more to come between now and the scheduled finish, which is now 7 o'clock. If you add on for the extra half hour for the overs, it could end a little earlier than that, but they have up to 7 o'clock in which to bowl the overs, and without any spinners in the side, I suspect it will go through to that point. So a little bit of a reminder as to where we are here before I bring in Victor for his sage thoughts and overview of things. 125 for 4 is the situation, so they resumed on 21 for no wicket. So they've added 104 for those 4 wickets today. And Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul seem to get through the entire morning session. There's a lot of playing and missing. England bowled pretty well. The pitch still responding, not quite as much as yesterday. Wasn't quite the movement in the air that the Indian bowlers found. Different conditions, bit of a cooler breeze and so on. They got all the way through until what turned out to be the last ball of that session. For all the playing and missing, Robinson bowled Rohit Sharma a good bouncer, face high, and he hooked it hard, but straight down to Curran, who was fielding at fine leg, and he was out for 36, and he banged the ground with his bat. He'd really battled hard and out of character and everything else to play that very determined and disciplined innings. That was 97 for 1, and they took lunch. Then lots of activity after that. Cheteshwar Pujara was actually given out LBW when he was on 2. He reviewed it successfully, but on 4 he was caught very low down by Buttler off Jimmy Anderson. That was 104 for 2. They had to wait and see on the technology if it had carried. In fact, it carried very comfortably. And because of that delay, Virat Kohli, who I think thought it was out all along, appeared very quickly. He was almost halfway out onto the field before the final decision was made. He knew it was out. He was there, he was bustling, bristling, ready to go. Well, Anderson ran in, bowled to him, and he nicked the first ball to Buttler. Out first ball for naught, and while Anderson was celebrating and England were cavorting, everything was standing, you just had the sight of Virat Kohli in the crease, just playing the shot again. Rather lonely figure, playing the shot, and then turning round and walking off. So Anderson on a hat-trick. His hat-trick ball wasn't the finest that he'll have delivered. It was down the leg side. He was trying to bowl an in-swinger. Then a run-out. Ajinkya Rahane was run out, a direct hit from Johnny Bairstow. It was played into the offside by Rahul. Ajinkya Rahane set off, despite you can clearly see Rahul saying no. Well, Rahane committed himself, really, tried to get back, and Bairstow, running in from backward point, hit the stumps direct at the bowler's end, and he was out by about a yard, and gave rather a gesture, I thought, to his vice-captain down at the other end. Wasn't very pleased. So anyway, run out for 5. Rishabh Pant came in and played an extraordinary shot to get off the mark. You know what he's like, when he had a huge mow, scythed the ball over cover and got 3 runs for it. At that point, off they went for bad light. And there was some rain to come. So I failed to mention that Rahul was dropped in that time on 52 by Sibley off Anderson again, who was putting a tremendous spell. It went quickly, it was low, it was to his left. He had to stretch a fair way to get it. He's a tall man, so he did have some ground to make, but he got both hands to it. Down it went, so it could have been even better as far as England were concerned than the 125 for 4 that India will resume on, hopefully at 5 o'clock. And I think you can hear there the covers being taken off, the plastic covers being wrapped up below us. I'm looking away to our right, and the road looks a bit damp, and you can see the brake lights of the cars there and so on. But importantly, although it's sort of very filled in, it does look quite clear over there at the moment. So it's just fingers crossed. Let's hope we get some play and this game moves on, Victor, because that little stint there, it was remarkable. The crowd were really up behind Jimmy Anderson, who was loving it. He hasn't had the best of fortunes here the last couple of tests that he's played, but he got his tail up there all right.
Well, it was a wonderful manic half hour for the spectators who'd sort of patiently sat through the morning and were being a bit frustrated, I'm sure, like the England players. They bowled pretty well, but no reward until right at the end of that session. And then suddenly the game caught fire and the whole balance of the game changed. I mean, at lunchtime it felt, what's the lead going to be for India? Will it be manageable from an England perspective? And suddenly 3 wickets go in no time. The crowd are right on top of it. Anderson is getting a little bit of swing, not prodigious swing, but he's just enough to keep him interested. And he's bowling with great verve, been very accurate throughout. The ball that got Kohli, I mean, it was a little bit wide. He could have left it, I think, but it zipped off the pitch and thudded into Buttler's glove. So Anderson was on song, and he is. I mean, he's always reliable, but he's also quite streaky. When the force is with him, he can pick up wickets very quickly because there was just that little bit of swing. And then there was an element of panic, and I don't know what's going to happen now. I'm not convinced we're going to get our full quota of play towards the end of this afternoon, but we've got Rishabh Pant in there, who doesn't respond to this type of situation in the orthodox, well, let's batten down the hatches and grind it out. You never know what he's going to do. He could change the game in an hour and score 50 runs. He could sky it anywhere at any moment. So that's pretty exciting. Rahul, meanwhile, had his one chance, but he's battled away. So the game is suddenly alive again. For a while, it was very slow one-way traffic.
Yep.
But taking those wickets in a rush, and who knows, it's not a comfortable time to come out and bat too, because you're looking at the skies and you're thinking, well, we're not going to be out here for long. I just got to stay in, and you can get a bit tentative and a bit negative. So it's not a comfortable time to go out and bat. The only slight problem, maybe from an England perspective, is that you fret in this modern game. You treat that cricket ball like a pearl. It's so valuable, and you just don't want it to get damp because it won't swing so much, and you can't work on it legitimately in the same way, so that you fret about the ball getting damp and therefore not swinging as the innings progresses. But other than that, it's quite a nice time to go out and have a bowl, because
It is now.
there's much to gain and hopefully not too much to lose.
No, and the light isn't very good. I mean, I have to be honest, I'm not sure they would start in this.
Well, they've just taken all the covers off.
Yeah, but it is gloomy, and David Milnes is leaning on his umbrella, which is rolled up.
Yes, he's having a chat with the groundsman,
Yeah.
and he never does much quietly, you think. He's having a fairly vigorous conversation
Yeah.
there. I suppose the umpires are bound to look at their light meters when they get out there. The spectators who've stayed on, and there's still quite a few here, will be a bit grumpy if they've waited and suddenly it stopped raining, and then they decide, well, actually, sorry chaps, the light's not quite up to it.
It's odd though, after all the playing and missing and the disciplined line and length and the ball moving this way and that and play and miss, that it's a bouncer that gets a wicket caught down at fine leg. It just came from nowhere.
Well, that's one reason why the wicket came, because England, it's not a very quick pitch, and England haven't got a battery of very fast bowlers. And it's almost the first bouncer of the morning, as far as I remember. They hadn't really bothered with that. So you have to give some credit to Robinson, who up until then, I mean, he's looked the part of a test bowler, but throughout the morning, as of last night, he just pummeled that ball down the corridor, just back of a length, giving nothing away, in control, little bit of movement here and there. It was practically the first bouncer he'd tried, and glory be, Sharma was taken by surprise, went for the hook, and that was a critical wicket, a bit like when Bairstow got out just before an interval, and that prompted a flurry of wickets. So
just
the game's alive.
Look at the replay of Kohli's dismissal.
Yes.
And there's all sorts of mayhem going on because Jimmy Anderson is dashing about, he's jumping around, he's getting slaps on the back and everything else. A nice catch from Buttler, because it did swing a little bit after it bounced. So you see, on the one hand, Anderson rushing round being congratulated by his teammates, and he really is animated.
He's almost doing an Imran Tahir.
It wasn't Imran Tahir. And then you cut to Virat Kohli, who's just standing there.
He didn't want to go, did he?
Disbelief, and he just plays the shot again and is on his way. Because, Andy, not least because you've been looking at all sorts of interesting stats about Virat Kohli, but the last 3 balls that he has faced in this country
have got him out in Test cricket. So he finished the 2018 series in which he batted prodigiously well. When he was out in the first innings, finished the series with just under 600 runs, and he got a golden duck in the second innings of that 5th Test.
How did he get out that golden duck?
I think it was caught behind off Broad, from memory. And golden duck today. So his last 3 balls in Test cricket in England have dismissed him. And the head-to-head between Anderson and Kohli over the years has swung one way, then the other. Kohli, as a young player, played in the 2012-13 series, which England won in India. Anderson got him out once for 23 runs in that series. Then in 2014, when Kohli really struggled on his first tour of England, got him out 4 times in 50 balls for just 19 runs. So 4 times in 8.2 overs. But since then, he'd not dismissed him in 3 series, 112 balls in India in 3 tests in 2016-17. An epic battle between the two in 2018, 0 for 114 from 45 overs that Anderson bowled to Kohli. They did have a couple of catches dropped.
He did, I remember a couple, yes.
Earlier in this year, bowled 52 balls at him, none for 11. As Kohli just tried to see off that threat first ball, but so in between getting him out in 2014 and getting him out today in those 3 other series, Anderson bowled 72 overs and 2 balls at Virat Kohli, none for 194.
That's almost an entire innings.
It's a very, very
taking
long
the
innings.
new ball, aren't you?
I don't know if he'd have got a second new ball if he bowled another 7 overs and 2 balls without getting him out. So Kohli hadn't dominated him, gone quite slowly, scored at just 2.5 and over in that 2018 series, and very slowly in the tests earlier this year. So it's been a sort of fascinating contest between 2 of cricket's finest practitioners.
We can go to 7:30 because you can add an hour on from today.
Right.
I think I'm right in saying, and then you can add on more tomorrow. But I think today, by the sounds of it, you can go through to 7:30. That includes the overs. They have to be on the field at 7 for that to happen. They're running a rope round at the moment. The umpires are coming out. Let's have our fingers crossed. I just hope we get more than that 1 ball that we had earlier on. It becomes sort of fragmented and disjointed, and you can't quite remember what happened the day before or anything when it starts to get like this. The fact is that Rahul is still there. He was dropped on 52 by Sibley off Anderson. We'll wait and see how big a miss that was. This light is really marginal. I think if you look at the floodlight shadows at the feet of the umpires and now the England fielders as they come out, well, I think this is going to be really nip and tuck.
It is, isn't it? It is a source of exasperation, I'm sure, for all spectators, and even for old sort of soldiers like ourselves, that all these wonderful floodlights have been put in at all the test grounds, but actually you can still go off a bad light. Don't
you think they've just got to get on with it? I think.
Well, that's my view. Unless it's absolutely decided to be dangerous. Now,
exactly.
England don't have a dangerous bowling attack, to be honest.
They don't. If you've got Mitchell Johnson tearing in and the umpire says to the captain, I'm very sorry, but if he's bowling, we're going to go off, then everyone knows the situation, because in our view it's dangerous. Or you've got number 11 out there who's really struggling and could get hurt.
Hit, yes.
That for me should be the only criterion, and that should be it. If it's dangerous, you go off. If it's not dangerous, you don't go off.
Yes.
And I know that does still come down, it's still subjective to an extent, but it's a bit of common sense to know that Mitchell Johnson's rushing in gloomy light. He could do some damage to somebody.
It's the difference between it being dangerous and it being difficult.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking of other sports. I mean, you think of golf and an Open at Sandwich. There's going to be some unfortunate golfers who go out when the wind is blowing at 25 miles an hour and the rain is sleeting through, and getting par is incredibly difficult, and there'll be others who happen to go out when it's absolutely still and the sun is shining, and it's much, much easier. But that's the luck of the draw.
Exactly. I completely. I think they've got to do this. I think the cricketers will resist, the players will resist, but I just don't think it can keep carrying on like this. 1:25 for 4. We're about to get underway.
It's long over this from Jimmy Anderson.
Sam Curran trying to whip the crowd up. As Anderson continues this over that began some hours ago, and he bowls an in-swinger and is played off the front foot by Rahul down to point where Bairstow fields. So people are reappearing. I mean, it has thinned out. It's probably about I don't know, barely a quarter full at the moment. You can hear the chanting rather echoing round Trent Bridge, but they are at least playing. And the cloud is solid, looking away to the west.
It's got worse out of there, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not good, and Rahul will be making it clear that he doesn't think it's good enough. As Anderson runs in once more and bowls to him, and he plays that across his pad out to mid-wicket, and there is no run. But I just think the batsman could do all he likes to try and tell the umpire it's not good enough. I just think you try and cut out as much of the sort of decision making as you can, I think, with bad light, and you simply come down to, is it dangerous or not? And that should be the end of it. Anderson can't wait to get bowling again, but Rahul is making him wait.
I think there's
rain coming down.
There's flickers of rain. I mean, it's so frustrating.
It's raining, and
there we go.
Again.
So
one ball. We've had a one-ball session. We've had a two-ball session.
And I think it's getting to the stage now where, looking away to our right, where it's coming from, it has filled in again, and it's almost getting to the point
the
where
wind's whipping up as well. Look, it's not pleasant. It's raining steadily, and they've got to go off. That's the end of that. And a very disappointed looking Chris Silverwood, I can see there, looking dejected. But nothing you can do. It's raining, and that's the end of it. And an Indian supporter there's got his Indian umbrella up, and off they go again. So we've had a one-ball session and a two-ball session. And Rishabh Pant's walking off, protecting his bat there, tucking up his jumper. As once again, that throaty roar of the covers, and the ground staff are taking them out again. So,
this over currently, 4 balls in. It's taken 2 hours and 35 minutes.
Extraordinary. Well, I don't think really, if we're honest, given that the regulations as they are, you could really quibble with what's happened as far as the umpires are concerned. I just think the regulations need to try and allow more play in bad light, and nowadays you've got so much protection, and you just use common sense, and there is not somebody in the England bowling attack who a professional player would class as dangerous, I don't think, and that's but I think they're fine bowlers, don't get me wrong, and they could get you out. But if it's your bad luck that the light isn't very good when you're actually going out to bat, well, that's just the way it goes. You know, you can nick one day, you can play and miss the next, and it's the same sort of thing, I think.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair now, it is starting to rain.
Definitely. Oh, no, there's no quibbling now.
But it's hugely frustrating. The good thing, I suppose, is that this game is so well advanced. You know, England have 10 wickets gone there, 4 gone today. Now, the forecast isn't brilliant throughout the rest of this match, but you can make up so much time. The game is sufficiently well advanced that you could still lose quite a bit of time and still get a positive outcome for one side or the other. And if England can... I think if England could bowl India out for 220, let's say, another 100... I mean, it takes some doing, perhaps, if the sun shines tomorrow. But if they can do that, they're right back in the game, having made a complete Horlicks of it on Wednesday afternoon, late Wednesday afternoon. To get back in the game, you know, if the lead is in the region of 30-40, that's manageable. But I'm not sure we're going to find out today.
Well, it's not looking very positive. But then we said that, and they came out and tried again. But as the light obviously fades and time marches on, you feel there's less chance of the umpires coming out and giving it another go.
Tell me, where is that over there, over the way to our right?
You're the Loughborough.
Well, out towards Loughborough, it's raining hard, and I feel it's coming this way. Yeah. Is that be right?
I think that looks right. It is very filled in, and the light isn't very good. So the sheets are coming on, the main cover's on. And the score hasn't progressed at all. We've had a 1-ball go, we've had a 2-ball go, and we think that we might struggle to get on again.
Day's play, I should say, between England and India at Trent Bridge has been abandoned because of the poor weather there, with England fighting back, a shift in momentum in that game as well. Quick wickets falling to see India 125 for 4 in response to England's 183 all out.